My husband told me, "You're dead weight. I've met a girl way better than you," and handed me divorce papers. I just smiled and walked away. This morning, I got unexpected messages from his mistress. "I'm Emily, and this is my confession. 6 months ago, my world collapsed. My husband of 10 years, Ryan, slid divorce papers across our Denver kitchen table. You're dead weight," he spat, boasting about his new girlfriend Sophie, a Pilates coach with 40K Instagram followers. My heart shattered, but I forced a smile, turned, and walked out of our cozy Lodo apartment. How did I miss the signs? Ryan got obsessed with a boutique gym last year, swapping his old hoodies for Under Armour and a Fitbit he checked obsessively. I was proud, thinking he was prioritizing health. But then came the late-night client calls he'd take in the garage, the new Tom Ford cologne, the jabs about my thrift store cardigans. I found a Saks receipt for a $600 bracelet in his coat pocket. "We shop at Target, not Saks." When I asked, he smirked. "You'll fall apart without me, Emily." But I was already gone, determined to prove him wrong. Why was I so blind? That night, I sat on our IKEA couch, scrolling our bank app. Ryan had been skimming our savings, $150 here, $250 there, labeled work expenses or car maintenance. My paychecks built our dream home fund, while he bankrolled Sophie's lifestyle. I felt like an idiot. I called my sister Claire, who drove over with coffee and her laptop. We dug into our accounts. Credit card charges showed rooftop bars in Rhino I'd never visited, weekend getaways to Boulder, even Zelle transfers to Sophie for class fees. By dawn, I was livid. I froze our cards, thank you Google, and called a lawyer. Ryan thought I'd collapse, but I was done playing his fool. My phone buzzed. 12 missed calls from him. His voicemail swung from cocky to frantic. "You can't handle this, Emily." By the 8th, he was groveling. I didn't reply. Claire and I found a secret Venmo account he used for Sophie's spa trips, but what we uncovered next made my heart stop. Was this betrayal even deeper than I thought? How do you stand when your life's a sham? I crashed at Claire's cramped Aurora condo, sleeping on a futon next to her toddler's toys. It was humbling, but better than our hollow apartment. I tried buying groceries at King Soopers, but my card was declined for $40. Ryan had gutted our savings, leaving me with $62. I called the bank, voice shaking, and learned he'd been siphoning money since last spring. Small transfers disguised as home repairs. I trusted him completely. At Claire's, we poured over a box of receipts, coffee shops near Sophie's studio, concert tickets for bands he'd never liked, even a charge for a couple's cooking class. He barely hid it, tossing papers in a kitchen drawer. My lawyer, Rachel, called it financial manipulation. The term felt heavy. Then Sophie DM'd me on Instagram. "Can we chat?" she wrote. I left her on read. Why would I talk to her? She knew he was married. Ryan's calls dropped to 6 a day, now fake worried. "I'm just checking on you, Emily." Then Rachel found something in our old Gmail that flipped everything. What happens when the lies pile higher? Rachel showed me emails from a hidden Visa card Ryan opened, a $1,500 limit, used for gas near Sophie's place, dinners at trendy low-high spots, even a subscription to her Pilates app. He'd lied about his upscale gym. It was a budget crunch fitness pass. I laughed, then cried. I landed a clerical job at a tech startup in Golden, paying $17 an hour, enough for a tiny studio. One morning, in the office elevator, I saw Ryan. He was pitching to a client, Sophie trailing in yoga gear. He froze, seeing me in my new blazer, holding a latte like I belonged. His swagger cracked. Rachel used my evidence, every receipt, every transfer, to trap him in mediation. I slid a Fitbit log across the table, showing him and Sophie tracking workouts at our apartment while I was at Claire's. His stuttering was priceless. Then Sophie messaged again, not to talk, but to send screenshots. Ryan's promises of ski trips, a new Jeep, all lies. She was done. But what she sent next would ruin him. What was Ryan hiding now? How does betrayal turn to justice? Sophie's screenshots were explosive. Texts where Ryan bragged about fudging expense reports at his marketing firm. He'd billed their date nights as client meetings, even showed her doctored receipts. She saved it all in her iCloud, thinking his genius was hot. Then she made a TikTok. No names, just a story time about dating a liar, flashing those receipts. It blew up locally, hitting 80K views. Ryan's coworkers recognized the format. He got fired, not for me, but for fraud. His clients ghosted him, and Sophie bailed when the cash dried up. I heard from Claire's friend that he was couch surfing in Lakewood. Meanwhile, I was killing it. My boss loved my knack for organizing data, so I used it to catalog Ryan's shady transactions for Rachel. At mediation, his smug grin faded when I presented a binder of evidence, including hotel charges he swore were work trips. He tried begging, even showed up at my office. Security blocked him. The best part? Sophie's next TikTok showed the bracelet, a cheap knockoff from a sketchy site. But what I found in our old cloud drive would seal his fate. Can you escape your own lies? In our shared Google Drive, I found Ryan's chats with Sophie from their first dates. He called me clueless and swore I'd never survive alone. It hurt, but I sent it to Rachel. Then I ran into his brother, Nate, at Whole Foods. He spilled that Ryan borrowed $5,000 from their parents, claiming it was for a business deal. It was for Sophie's shopping sprees. His mom was furious, cut him off after Sophie's TikTok hit their family chat. Ryan's DMs turned pathetic. "You'll regret this, Emily." I blocked him. At work, I got a $2 raise and started meal prepping with Freshly. My studio's homey now, with a thriving cactus and IKEA shelves I built myself. Last week, at a Lodo cafe, I overheard Ryan's old colleagues joking. He'd begged for his job back, loitering in their lobby. They let him sulk until he left. Sophie's on Bumble now, and Ryan's at Crunch Fitness, dodging me in the parking lot. My win? Depositing my paycheck, the bank teller who saw me at my lowest said, "You're thriving," but Ryan's latest voicemail sounded desperate. What was he planning? When does karma hit hardest? Sophie's second TikTok was savage, showing the fake bracelet and texts where Ryan promised her a condo. It hit 120K views, and his old boss commented, "We know who this is." Ryan's world imploded. He tried new Instagram accounts to harass Sophie, but she wasn't playing. She sent me more screenshots, Ryan admitting he'd scammed 2 previous jobs. I forwarded everything to Rachel. Then Claire and I found our old Amazon account history. Ryan had bought Sophie gifts while we were married, using my card. I returned what I could, pocketing $200 in refunds. He didn't notice until Amazon emailed him. At mediation, Rachel dropped the bomb. Evidence of his fraud could go to his ex-employer. Ryan went pale. He tried cornering me at a Starbucks near work, pleading for help. I walked away. The cherry on top? His dad called, apologizing for enabling him. He said Ryan's living in a Westminster basement, driving a 2007 Accord. I changed our Hulu password while his Nest camera pinged. He was locked out again. But a cryptic email from Sophie hinted at one last secret. What else was Ryan hiding? How do you outsmart a manipulator? Sophie's email included a Dropbox link, photos of Ryan's fake expense reports, some from before we met. He'd been scamming for years. I sent it to Rachel, who said it could strengthen our case. Then I bumped into Ryan's cousin Mia at Target. She said his family staged an intervention after Sophie's TikToks. His parents demanded he repay the $5,000, but he's broke. His new DMs were unhinged. "You owe me, Emily." I deleted them. "My job's going great. I'm training to be an office admin, earning $19 an hour. My studio's my sanctuary, with thrift store art and a new air fryer I love." Last week, at a Wash Park bakery, I heard Ryan's ex-coworkers laughing. He'd emailed their CEO, begging for a reference. They trashed it. Sophie's back teaching Pilates, and Ryan's stuck at a call center, barely scraping by. My victory? Fixing a leaky faucet myself thanks to YouTube. I'm not the helpless girl he mocked. But Claire found an old joint PayPal account with recent activity. Was Ryan still scheming? How do you unravel a decade of deception? Claire and I logged into the old PayPal account, finding payments Ryan made to Sophie as recently as last month. $50 here, $75 there, labeled consulting. He was jobless, so where was the money coming from? My stomach churned. We traced it to a new bank account he'd opened without me. Rachel said it could be asset hiding, a big deal in divorce court. I felt a mix of rage and relief. I wasn't crazy. Then Ryan's sister Jess texted me. She'd found a box of his old paperwork at their parents' house, including loan receipts from shady online lenders. He'd borrowed thousands to keep up his facade with Sophie. His latest DMs were pitiful. "Let's just talk, Emily." I blocked him again. At work, I got a shout out for streamlining our filing system, boosting my confidence. My studio's now got a cozy rug from Ross, and I'm mastering stir-fry. But at a Rhino diner, I overheard Ryan's old intern gossiping. He tried selling his old Fitbit data as a fitness plan. It flopped. Then Jess sent me a photo that changed everything. Can a single photo rewrite your past? Jess's photo was of Ryan's old notebook, filled with lists of business expenses from our marriage. Half were fake, like client dinners at places he took Sophie. He'd been scamming since year 2. I sent it to Rachel, who said it could force a better settlement. Then I ran into Sophie at a golden coffee shop. She looked tired, no Instagram glow. She apologized, saying Ryan lied to her too, promising a life he couldn't deliver. I didn't forgive her, but I listened. She'd kept more evidence. Voice memos of him bragging about dodging taxes. I forwarded it all to Rachel. Ryan's calls stopped, replaced by emails begging me to drop the case. I ignored them. My job's steady, and I'm saving for a used car. My apartment's my haven, with a new bookshelf I assembled solo. At a low-dough bar, I heard Ryan's ex-boss say he'd applied to a rival firm and got laughed off. Sophie's teaching yoga again, barely scraping by. My win? Paying my first utility bill online. No Ryan needed. But Sophie's last email hinted at one more bombshell. What happens when the truth catches up? Sophie's email had a Google Doc link, Ryan's draft resume, listing fake jobs and inflated salaries. He'd been lying to everyone, even before me. Rachel said it proved intent to deceive, strengthening our case. Then Claire found our old joint Spotify account. Ryan had made playlists for Sophie titled Our Vibe, while we were still together. It stung, but I deleted them. At work, I got tapped to train new hires, a small win that felt huge. My studio's got fairy lights now, and I'm baking muffins from a TikTok recipe. Ryan's cousin Nate called, saying Ryan tried borrowing money again, claiming he'd fix everything. His parents refused. At a Wash Park market, I overheard Ryan's old neighbor. He'd been evicted from his basement room for late rent. Sophie's TikTok stopped, and Ryan's stuck at a warehouse job. My victory? Buying a used bike, riding it to work, feeling free. But Rachel called with news about our mediation. Ryan was bringing a new lawyer. Was he fighting back? How do you face a final showdown? Rachel warned me Ryan's new lawyer was aggressive, likely pushing for a cheap settlement. I wasn't scared. I had evidence. At mediation, Ryan looked rough, his fancy blazer ill-fitting. He tried claiming I'd mismanaged our finances. Rachel shut it down, presenting the notebook, screenshots, and Sophie's voice memos. He crumbled, admitting he'd made mistakes. The mediator sided with me, awarding most of our remaining assets. Ryan's emails stopped. I got a $1,000 bonus at work for my training gig, enough for a new couch. My studio's my sanctuary, with a thriving herb garden. At a Capitol Hill cafe, I heard Ryan's old client say he'd tried pitching them again. They blocked him. Sophie's moved to Colorado Springs, starting over. Ryan's at a dive bar now, per Nate, whining to anyone who'll listen. My win? Framing a photo of me and Claire at a Rockies game. Proof I'm living. But Ryan's mom invited me to coffee. She had something to say. What could she want? What do you owe the family that failed you? Ryan's mom, Linda, met me at a cozy Highlands cafe. She looked worn, clutching her coffee. She apologized for enabling Ryan's lies, saying she'd ignored his flaws since he was a kid. Then she dropped a bomb. Ryan had pawned his dad's old watch to pay rent. It was a family heirloom. They'd disowned him. I didn't feel vindicated, just sad. Linda gave me a box of my old letters to Ryan from our dating days. Reading them later, I barely recognized the hopeful girl I was. Ryan's latest Instagram DM was a drunken rant. "You ruined my life, Emily." I blocked it. At work, I led my first team meeting, earning a nod from my boss. My studio's got a new lamp from Target, and I'm perfecting banana bread. At a Rhino art fair, I heard Ryan's old friend say he'd tried launching a consulting gig. It tanked. Sophie's gone quiet online, and Ryan's stuck at his warehouse job. My win? Biking to a park, feeling alive. But Linda's parting words lingered. She'd found Ryan's old journal. What was in it? How do you face the man you once loved? The journal Linda sent over was a gut punch. Pages from our early marriage showed Ryan planning to upgrade his life even then. He wrote about resenting my basic dreams. I sent scans to Rachel. Then, Ryan showed up at my office parking lot, looking desperate, begging to talk. I said no, and security escorted him out. His emails turned to apologies. I messed up, Emily. I ignored them. At work, I got a promotion to admin lead, now at $21 an hour. My studio's my pride, with a thrifted mirror and a basil plant still alive. At a Golden Brewery, I overheard Ryan's ex-coworker. He'd tried crashing their office party, claiming he was misunderstood. They laughed him out. Sophie's working retail now, per Claire. Ryan's selling old gym gear online to make rent. My victory? Joining a book club, making new friends. But Rachel found a hidden savings account Ryan hadn't disclosed. It had $3,000. Was he still playing games? Can you outrun a liar's shadow? Rachel traced the savings account to a bank in Boulder. Ryan had funneled money there during our marriage, likely for Sophie. It was enough for Rachel to push for a fraud claim, upping my settlement. Then Claire and I found our old shared Dropbox again. Ryan had uploaded photos of him and Sophie at our apartment, dated when I was at work. It stung, but I saved them for court. Ryan's DM stopped, replaced by a letter, handwritten, mailed to Claire's. He claimed he was changing. I didn't buy it. At work, I'm mentoring a new hire, feeling like a leader. My studio's got a new rug, and I'm grilling burgers like a pro. At a Lodo food truck, I heard Ryan's old landlord say he'd skipped out on rent, leaving debt. Sophie's moved again, to Fort Collins. Ryan's at a temp agency now. My win? Running a 5K, proving I'm stronger than he thought. But Rachel said Ryan's lawyer was stalling the final divorce papers. What was his last move? What's the cost of closure? Rachel warned me Ryan's lawyer was dragging things out, likely hoping I'd settle cheap. I wasn't budging. At our final mediation, Ryan looked defeated, his tie crooked. He tried claiming the hidden account was for us. Rachel presented the Dropbox photos, journal entries, and bank records. He had no defense. The judge finalized the divorce, granting me the $3,000 account and most assets. Ryan left silently. I celebrated with Claire at a Wash Park taco joint, feeling free. At work, I'm up for a manager role, and my studio's my haven, with a new coffee table I built. At a Capitol Hill bookstore, I heard Ryan's old mentor say he'd moved to a cheap Aurora motel, working odd jobs. Sophie's off social media, starting over. My victory? Painting my apartment walls a bold blue, claiming my space. But Nate texted me late one night. Ryan had called him, sounding broken, hinting at leaving town. Was he really gone? Or was this another trick? Can you ever truly escape a liar's reach? Nate's text rattled me. Ryan was talking about skipping town, maybe heading to Vegas for a fresh start. I didn't trust it. Rachel checked his bank records. He'd withdrawn $500 from a sketchy ATM, but nothing else moved. Was it a bluff? Then Claire found an old joint iCloud account we'd forgotten. Ryan had backed up texts bragging to a buddy about outsmarting me in the divorce. I sent them to Rachel, who said it could block any appeal he might try. His last email was a sob story. I'm sorry, Emily. I'm lost. I deleted it. At work, I landed the manager role, now at $24 an hour, and bought a used Corolla. My studio's my fortress, with a new thrift store chair and a mint plant thriving. At a Lohi Farmers Market, I heard Ryan's old gym buddy say he'd been caught sneaking into Crunch Fitness without a membership. Sophie's working at a mall now, per Jess. My win? Hosting a game night with my book club, laughing like I hadn't in years. But Nate's next call hinted Ryan wasn't done. What was he scheming? How do you brace for one last twist? Nate said Ryan was spotted at a shady Denver pawn shop, selling old electronics, likely his Fitbit and laptop. Was he desperate for cash? Rachel warned he might try contesting the settlement, claiming I'd trapped him. I wasn't worried. We had his journal, texts, and Sophie's evidence. Then I found our old shared Netflix account. Ryan had watched rom-coms with Sophie on my profile while we were married. I changed the password, smirking as his Ring camera pinged. At work, I'm training a whole team now, feeling unstoppable. My studio's got a new wall shelf, and I'm baking cookies from scratch. At a Golden Tap Room, I overheard Ryan's ex-neighbor. He tried renting a new place but got rejected for bad credit. Sophie's gone silent, maybe left town. Ryan's washing dishes at a dive bar, per Claire. My victory? Buying a cheap guitar, teaching myself chords via YouTube. I'm not the useless girl he mocked. But Rachel found a new withdrawal from Ryan's account, $1,000 gone overnight. Where was it going? What happens when a liar's mask cracks? Rachel traced the $1,000 to a payment for a consultant in Vegas. Likely a scam Ryan fell for, thinking he'd flip it into a fortune. He was spiraling. Then Jess sent me a screenshot of Ryan's new LinkedIn, claiming he was a freelance strategist. No one bought it. His last DM to me was barely coherent. You win, Emily? Happy now? I blocked him. At work, I got a $500 bonus for my team's performance, enough for a new rug. My studio's my sanctuary, with a thrifted lamp and a rosemary plant still alive. At a Rhino comedy show, I heard Ryan's old client laughing about his Vegas plan. He'd pitched them a casino app that didn't exist. Sophie's back in Fort Collins working at a gym. Ryan's stuck at the bar, barely paying rent. My win? Running a 10K, crossing the finish line with Claire cheering. I'm stronger than ever. But Linda called again, saying Ryan had left a voicemail for her, sounding off. Was he hitting rock bottom or planning one last stunt? Can you heal when the past won't let go? Linda played me Ryan's voicemail. Slurred, rambling, saying he'd lost everything and might disappear. I felt a pang, but no pity. Rachel confirmed he'd burned through the $500 from the pawn shop, likely on the Vegas scam. His LinkedIn got no bites. He was radioactive in Denver's marketing scene. Then Claire and I found our old shared Google photos. Ryan had uploaded selfies with Sophie at our apartment, time-stamped during my late shifts. I saved them for Rachel, then deleted his access. At work, I'm leading projects, eyed for a senior role. My studio's my pride, with a new canvas I painted myself. At a Wash Park cafe, I heard Ryan's old intern say he'd been fired from the bar for showing up drunk. Sophie's keeping a low profile, teaching yoga part-time. My victory? Taking a solo hike in Boulder, feeling free. I'm not the broken girl he left. But Jess texted late one night. Ryan was back in Denver crashing with a friend. What did he want now? How do you face a ghost from your past? Jess said Ryan was back, crashing on a friend's couch in 5 Points, looking like he hadn't slept in days. He'd called her, asking about me, claiming he just wanted closure. I didn't buy it. Rachel checked his accounts. He'd tried opening a new credit card but got denied. His Vegas scam had tanked, leaving him broke. Then I found our old shared Evernote account. Ryan had saved notes about winning me back last month, listing fake apologies. It was all a game. I sent it to Rachel. His latest DM was a plea. Can we meet, Emily? I'm different. Blocked. At work, I'm spearheading a new project, feeling like a boss. My studio's my oasis, with a new succulent and a cozy throw blanket. At a low-dough taco truck, I heard Ryan's old coworker say he'd tried begging for freelance gigs. No one bit. Sophie's teaching yoga in a strip mall now. My win? Taking a pottery class, molding clay into something new. But Jess sent a photo of Ryan at a bar, staring at his phone. Was he watching me? Can a liar ever stop scheming? Jess's photo showed Ryan hunched over a beer, scrolling Instagram. My profile was visible on his screen. It creeped me out. Rachel filed a restraining order, citing his obsessive behavior. Then Claire found our old joint Pinterest board filled with dream home ideas Ryan pinned for Sophie, not me. It hurt, but I deleted it. Ryan's friend texted Claire, saying he'd been fired from the temp agency for faking timesheets. Classic Ryan. His emails resumed, now incoherent. I deserve a second chance. I forwarded them to Rachel. At work, I got a $1,500 raise, enough for a new desk. My studio's my haven, with a thrifted vase and a sage plant thriving. At a golden diner, I overheard Ryan's ex-client. He'd pitched a crypto startup that was just a Google Doc. It flopped. Sophie's moved again, to Pueblo. Ryan's washing cars now, barely surviving. My victory? Joining a hiking group, summiting my first peak. I'm not his victim anymore. But Rachel found a new email from Ryan to an old coworker, mentioning my name. What was he plotting? How do you end a story that won't quit? Rachel showed me Ryan's email. He'd tried spreading lies, claiming I'd sabotaged his career. His coworker ignored it, knowing the truth. Then Linda called, saying Ryan had shown up at their house, begging for money. They turned him away. I found our old shared Google Calendar. Ryan had marked date nights with Sophie during our marriage. I archived it for Rachel, then wiped his access. At work, I'm mentoring a new team, eyed for a director role. My studio's my pride, with a new watercolor I painted. At a Wash Park brewery, I heard Ryan's old boss say he'd applied to a gas station job. No one hired him. Sophie's off the grid, maybe gave up yoga. Ryan's living in a motel, per Nate. My win? Buying a used camera, snapping photos of Denver's skyline, seeing beauty again. I'm whole now. But Claire got a weird voicemail from an unknown number, sounding like Ryan. Was he still chasing me, or was this his final act? Can you close the book on betrayal? Rachel traced the voicemail. It was Ryan, using a burner phone, rambling about fixing things. She tightened the restraining order. Then I found our last shared relic, an old Dropbox folder with our wedding vows. Ryan's words, promising forever, felt like fiction. I deleted it, feeling lighter. Linda texted, saying Ryan had left Denver for good, headed to a cousin's in Reno. His motel room was empty, his car gone. At work, I landed the director role, now at $30 an hour, and celebrated with Claire at a Rhino rooftop bar. My studio's my sanctuary, with a new shelf of books I love. At a Capitol Hill art walk, I heard Ryan's old intern say he'd emailed them from Reno, still begging for work. They blocked him. Sophie's a faint memory, and Ryan's a cautionary tale. My victory? Standing on my balcony, watching the sunset, knowing I rebuilt myself. I'm not the girl he broke. I'm Emily, thriving, free. And this time, when my phone buzzed, it wasn't Ryan. It was Claire, inviting me to a concert. I smiled and said yes.